Could never guess what this skin is. If you get it right, the king will marry his beloved princess to you. The man stared at the large hide, inspecting it up and down, then leaned in to touch it. He pulled a hair from the skin, and it seemed like he had figured it out. Then he said, "It's a pig skin." The king declared the answer wrong. The second person appeared quite professional, taking out a magnifying glass and inspecting it closely. The princess looked worried, afraid that this ugly man would recognize flea skin. The man said, "It's snake skin." The princess quickly glanced at her father.
No.
The princess was only slightly relieved. More people then came up to look at it, but none of them could recognize what kind of animal's skin it was. The king was quite pleased with himself. Just then, an ugly wild man approached. He had spent years in the wilderness and knew it was a flea skin as soon as he sniffed his nose. The king was dumbfounded that anyone could recognize it, though the king was not pleased with the marriage. But for the sake of his authority and credibility, he allowed the wild man to take the princess. The savage took the princess over the mountains and over the cliffs to his home. Inside, animal carcasses were scattered around. The wild man carefully cleared a space for her, and they began their wedding night. There were no clean clothes, and they could only eat raw meat with the wild man. The princess spent her days in tears, until one day, when the savages were out hunting, she saw the old woman on the opposite side of the cliff and rushed to her for help. But there was an abyss between them, and the old woman said she couldn't do anything. But after repeated pleas from the princess, she brought her son, who performed acrobatics at the circus. They carried the princess up on their backs by means of a tightrope walker. But at that moment the savages returned and saw it all. He immediately followed the rope, chasing after them. Seeing the wild man about to catch up, the young man quickly drew a knife and cut the rope, sending the wild man tumbling off the cliff. They rushed for their lives in their wagons, but the savage did not fall to his death, and surprisingly gave chase.